Way back, people would just be wandering along a beach, find a shiny shell or maybe a strange carved bone, and think, I really want to keep this safe. It was completely innocent, right? They just wanted to stash these little things away from the rain, hide them from wild animals. Because even back then, these tiny little items held massive, important memories. A carved bone wasn't just a bone, it told this whole epic hunting story. And a shiny stone wasn't just a rock, it was something that gently reminded someone of home. But naturally, as the years passed, this totally innocent collecting got entirely out of hand. You had these kings who just wanted the absolute best treasures. So they started hoarding giant animal skins, piles of gold, and these supposedly magic stones, just shoving them all into these private, chaotic treasure rooms that they actually called cabinets of wonder. And they locked the heavy doors tight. It was basically just a massive flex. They wanted to show off their power to their rich friends, because in their minds, more treasure simply meant more power. They'd even send explorers across the wide ocean just to bring back strange plants and drawings of completely unknown stars. Eventually, those secret treasure rooms got packed, and a real problem started creeping in. Dust covered the old bones, bugs started eating the stuffed birds. Because time is like this giant invisible monster that slowly breaks old pots into tiny pieces and turns hard wood into soft dirt. And these kings realized a truly terrifying truth. A heavy locked room cannot stop time. All their precious, flex-worthy memories were just slowly, quietly fading away in the dark. So a totally new kind of worker had to step forward into the shadows to fight this monster. These folks were called curators, and they basically made a firm promise to wage a quiet war against time itself. They slowly figured out exactly how to gently clean the dust off those ancient bones, how to fix the broken pots piece by tiny piece, and how to keep all those hungry bugs far, far away. You can just kind of imagine them moving around in those dim, secret rooms, carefully brushing dust off ancient paintings, and meticulously wrapping fragile cloth and special paper to keep it safe. So the treasures were finally safe, but the doors were still locked tight. Normal people couldn't get in. But then a really wild shift swept across the world. Kings finally lost their absolute power, and regular people started asking some pretty loud questions. They demanded to see the giant bones and the bright paintings. And so, those heavy wooden doors finally swung wide open. Suddenly, fragile things were protected by clear glass boxes, open to absolutely everyone, which meant normal kids could just casually walk right past the old king's guards and stare wide-eyed at massive dinosaur skeletons. That completely changed everything, because it meant a museum stopped being a secret vault and actually became a house for human memory, a house that suddenly belonged to every single person. It just makes you wonder, how these locked up hidden treasures totally transformed into a beautiful shared space belonging to all of us. Now, because the world's history is just way too massive to fit inside one single building, they had to start splitting all these wild memories up. They put the bright, beautiful paintings into art museums, the special rocks and loud machines, those went to science museums. History museums got all the old swords and, maybe more importantly, the stories of completely normal farmers. And natural history museums, they got the entire animal kingdom, holding all the undeniable proof that the Earth is just unbelievably incredibly old. But having to choose what to save is a crazy hard job, because saving one old chair means leaving another behind, and every choice literally changes human memory. And honestly, sometimes curators made some pretty bad choices. They took special items without asking, just flat out stealing treasures from faraway countries. But they had to learn a really hard lesson. You literally cannot steal history to save it. Today, museums are actually trying to fix those messy past mistakes, returning stolen items to their real homes and genuinely asking for forgiveness. When you look at how far they've come, a modern museum is basically like a giant school without any tests or grades. It's totally stress-free. You learn absolutely everything just by looking, walking around, and naturally soaking things in without ever once worrying about passing a test. And the things you soak in are just wild to think about. In one room, you can stand right next to a real moon rock, literally actual dust from space that proves humans can pull off completely impossible things. And then, just a few steps away, you can look at this tiny, fragile painted bowl, and it instantly connects you directly to a mother's daily life thousands of years ago. It's just awe-inspiring to stand exactly halfway between the totally impossible and the beautifully everyday. All of this really goes to show that the past isn't just a dusty collection of dead stories. The past is like this giant map that helps us clearly read how to survive. It literally shows us exactly how older cities failed and how incredibly clever people managed to solve massive problems so we can walk forward safely today. But it's not just about surviving the past. Museums are literally protecting our future right now. It's weirdly fascinating, but scientists are currently studying dusty old bugs in glass boxes to learn how tricky diseases change over time. And they're looking at old bird feathers because those feathers actually hold secret clues about how the weather used to be, which totally helps us figure out the global warming happening outside today. Which is super urgent because curators are suddenly facing a brand new danger. It's not just dust and hungry bugs anymore. With rising coastal waters and angry, violent storms threatening to flood the treasure rooms, curators are fighting a completely new war. They're literally rushing to build strong walls and haul heavy, ancient statues up to higher floors before the floodwaters can get in. That intense new danger is pushing a lot of museums onto the computer screen. And these digital museums are pretty cool because you can visit them right from your bed and they're completely safe from fires or angry ocean floods. But there's definitely a trade-off. Digital pictures kind of lack this totally irreplaceable magic. On a screen, you just can't see the real paint strokes. You can't feel the true massive size of a huge dinosaur bone. You need a physical museum to truly stand next to a real thing and feel the heavy, undeniable weight of time. Though there is one physical museum taking safety to an absolutely epic extreme. There is a hidden museum sitting deep inside an icy mountain, far, far away, quietly holding seeds from every single plant on Earth. It's just resting there in the shadows, acting as the ultimate backup plan for human life. Completely prepared for the worst, keeping those seeds safe just in case all the crops die. But you don't have to go to a hidden icy mountain to find a place that saves things that matter deeply. Think about your own town. Every single tiny town has its own small museum saving local firefighter hats or old rusty school bells. And I just love that because it proves that every completely normal life is incredibly important and that your own everyday story absolutely deserves to be saved too. Because at the end of the day, you are a very real part of this great human story. Saving memories makes us truly human, showing we actually care about the people from long ago and the children yet to be born. The daily tools you use without even thinking today will absolutely become the old objects of tomorrow. It really makes you wander off and wonder, will your plastic toys eventually sit in a beautifully lit glass box while future children stare through the glass, trying to understand your daily struggles? It's a wildly beautiful thing to think about. Anyway, if you liked wandering through all this with me, make sure to like, share, and subscribe, and I'll catch you next time.